Diamonds in the sunset, now your time has come.
6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Robin, the world is all mixed up. Last night, Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath won Grammy Awards.
I know.
Paul McCartney won a Grammy Award last night. I was like, wait a minute, what, did I wake up in the wrong year? What is it? You know, and then of course there's this thing about 3D printers, and it's like, okay, so now we can copy things in 3D.
Yeah.
We can have a wrench. if you lose your wrench, you can have the schematics for it or whatever, and your printer if you have one of these things, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, I heard that McDonald's was going to no longer order their Happy Meal toys, but instead make them as needed in their 3D makers, whatever they call these things,
Yeah.
right? So it's a different world, Robin. Rock stars from 40 years ago are still winning Grammys, and and we've got 3D printers out there. Carla Diana is on the phone. She's the creator of future specting projects in areas such as domestic robots.
That is cool.
Winning Grammys one day soon. Mobile devices and sentient kitchen appliances, and she'll explain what that is. I don't know. She's a teacher. She's going to teach us, I'm sure. She's the creative director for the iconic humanoid robot Simon, and she's got a book. It's called Leo, The Maker Prints, Journeys in 3D Printing. Fascinating stuff, in spite of the fact that Black Sabbath won a Grammy last night. Carla Diana. Good morning, Carla.
Hi, good morning.
And thank you for being on our show. Where are you?
I am in New York City.
And Black Sabbath won a Grammy last night.
I heard.
Oh, my goodness. So let's talk about the book first, and then we'll expand from there. What is the book about?
So the book is a storybook that involves a young woman who meets a robot, and the robot happens to be a 3D printing robot. But he's also walking and talking, so he can kind of explain things to her. And what happens in the book is that she's never seen a 3D printer before, and so Leo, which is the name of the robot, explains it to her. And first what he asks her to do is make him a drawing of a sheep. And she does it, and then he takes it and he scans it with his robot eyes and produces this physical 3D printed sheep that's actually something she can touch.
Oh, wow. Is it a live sheep?
It's not a live sheep.
No. It's a plastic sheep, right?
Although there is research going on where people are replicating cells and printing organs and things like that. But this book doesn't go there.
Wow.
Oh, good.
Wow.
Yeah, I considered it. So the book's really about the future of 3D printing, but it's told in a really friendly, child-friendly story book style. And it goes on to talk about different kinds of 3D printing robots that are printing in metal, robots that are printing food. But all the robots in the book are characters.
Oh, okay. And we've heard about the things that print food. What was it? Artificial meat or something?
Yeah.
Did you hear? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard of all these things, right? So this was very timely. I mean, this is right now. So the what age group is this for?
It's for about 7 to 12.
Okay, so the 7 to 12-year-old right now reads the book, learns about the 3D printer. When that 7 to 12-year-old is 14 to 20 or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Will this be like everyday knowledge, do you think? You think it's going to take over that quickly?
I think so. Yeah, I think in about 5 years, it will be not something that most kids know about, young people know about.
Yeah.
Something that will be in our Kinkos and our Staples and public places like that. Something that might be in a local library. Certainly schools will have them.
Wow. I found it fascinating that in the story you told that the robot asked the woman to draw a sheep, and because that's what we've been hearing is that it doesn't need an actual tangible product to copy. It can take the information about the product.
Right, exactly.
Wow.
And that's one of the things that's really exciting too, is that these objects can exist as these kind of virtual things that are just stored as a computer file until somebody needs them. And in fact, the book features a series of photographs of the things that come up in the story. And if someone has access to a 3D printer, they can actually print the things from the book.
Oh,
That
wow.
is cool.
They're for sale, I think, for $400 on eBay or something. I don't know.
That is pretty neat. I really like the part about your history, though. You had a creative flair about you, and then you settled in a job where you had to be an accountant, but then you had to be the creative person that you are today and felt earlier. And I think that's really amazing that you allowed your heart to take over.
Yeah. So that's and there's a little bit of poetic license in there because that's the story. So the woman in the book is named Carla, and I'm named Carla, and it really is a book about me.
Yeah.
And although I didn't become an accountant, I became a mechanical engineer.
There you go.
But it is really my story. Yeah, I kind of studied engineering, thinking, I really want to create things and make things and draw, and it wasn't really that. And then I went back to school.
Yeah.
For what they call industrial design.
But you know what's interesting? If you look at, oh my goodness, like technology as it affects music. Like right now, you could go into a computer and produce a song, and then come out and say, look, I made a song here, right? And then you have to wonder, well, how much talent was that, or how much computer was that? And I'm not saying that everybody who uses a computer isn't talented. I know that there's both. The person who kind of uses like GarageBand or something and punches a button and there's a song, as opposed to the person who really truly, composes a song. Mm-hmm. And so the same thing might be true for 3D objects, whereas once upon a time you had to, take a hammer and a chisel and carve it out. And you might have somebody say, look what I made, a statue of David. Mm-hmm. And everybody would go, oh my. Of all the things to make, a statue of David. So in the story, so explain how we make the 3D thing. If I had a 3D printer, what would I use from the book to make the things in the book?
So what you would do is you would go to a website. There is a website that's actually a giant network of these files. It's called Thingiverse.
Really?
And yeah. And you would just click on a link, and then you would have the file downloaded. And then if you had access to a printer, you would just open up your printer software, and then it would actually print out this file. And in 4 objects, you would have the object.
Oh, wow. And what are the objects?
4 hours. So there's the sheep. That's one.
Okay. How big is it?
The main characters, it's about 4 inches tall.
Okay.
Oh, it's a little toy.
Wow.
I mean, they're sort of toys. Yeah. And then the characters also, they exist as drawings, but they also exist as toys. So there's a Carla character, and there's a Leo character that's a little robot, and the arms move and the legs move. It's printed in parts so that they all snap together. And then there's jewelry, which in my book was made with a service that can 3D print in metal. Mm-hmm. And people can order that. They can order it in silver, or they can print it on one of these desktop printers in plastic. And there's a pair of shoes. There's a series of musical instrument toys. So there's
oh, wow.
a rubber band guitar and this kind of maraca kind of thing. And, so things like that. And they're woven into the storyline.
This is going to make chess more popular now, the game of chess, because then you can make, each of the characters in the chess game, the king and queen, you can make it into actual people.
Oh, yeah. Yes, you can. Right.
Really? So, Carla, you could be a chess piece.
Yeah. There's also, there are a lot of scanners. So, I mean, one way, we were talking about the software for music, there's software for the objects, right? And as a professional designer, I created these from the software, but you can also scan an object. So like the wrench that you were talking about before, if you had a scan of it, you could actually print it when you lost it. And so you can scan people's faces and heads and things, and people are having a lot of fun.
Wow. I went to the website you mentioned, thingiverse.com, and I see the sheep. I guess it's the one you're talking about.
Yeah, that's my sheep. Yes, it's featured this week.
It's black legs and black nose, I guess. Where'd it go? It flipped over to some things. So here you go. Yeah, black ears, black nose, snout, whatever, and 4 black legs and all puffy white, like a Mario Brothers cloud. It looks like, right?
How did you come up with Simon, and what exactly does Simon do?
So Simon is a very elaborate project that's taking place at the Georgia Institute of Technology, and I was part of the team. The project was actually initiated by a professor there whose name is Andrea Tamaz, and she studies a field that's called social robotics. And what that means is that there are researchers who are trying to study how we might be able to interact with machines in a really natural way. So the way you and I are speaking to each other, and if we were in person, we might gesture or hand each other things. So Simon is a robot like that has arms and eyes and eyelids, and it can make facial expressions, and it can also...
Oh, really? I wonder why we need that, though. When I see these things, I think they're cool. But I mean, why do we need our robots to look like humans? I mean, why couldn't it look like a car?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to do the same thing.
That's a very valid question. And in fact, I think that Simon is an exaggeration, and not really something that we'll probably see in our homes. But in research, it's good to kind of push things to the limit so you really understand. And more likely what we'll have is just subtle, parts of those interactions.
Right.
So, maybe your car, maybe something comes out of the glove compartment.
That'd be cool.
Carla, I'm going to ask you a question. This might be out of left field question, and maybe I'm asking you to be more philosophical than you thought we were going to be. But is there a catalyst behind the technology? In other words, what is it about us that wants this? Are we just curious about doing the next thing? Is that always what it is, or? And what actually motivates us to want this in the first place? I mean, I do.
The 3D printers or the robots?
Either or. I mean, I do. I mean, I think it's cool. I'm fascinated just as it seems like you are. But I don't understand my own self. What is my reason for wanting this? I mean, why couldn't I just go to the toy store and buy a sheep?
Right. Well, I think that we are really trapped in some very elaborate systems when it comes to objects. I mean, I think as human beings, we're naturally inclined to manipulate objects to create things, reimagine our environments, right? And now, if I want to reimagine my environment with a new vase, let's say, I have to go to a store, which isn't, maybe that's not that big a deal, but if you think of the whole system behind that, so someone designs that vase, and then that vase gets manufactured, and the way that processes are now, you probably have to make 100,000 of those for them to be, economical. And then those 100,000 have to get shipped from the factory to a warehouse somewhere. And then, money changes hands 3 times.
Yeah, right.
One of the vases gets shipped to you. So, one thing from us on a personal level, there's, just the sense that, boy, I would have liked to have created that vase, but I didn't know how. And then I think from an infrastructure sense, there's something that's very exciting about cutting out all of those middlemen and people in their homes the ability to have the goods.
Well, I guess it's like publishing in a way. I mean, that's what we see. Rob and I have been doing this show for long enough that we had, we go back to the day when publishers were the only way a book could get out there. And now people are doing it themselves. They have all these different ways of just, boom, there it is.
Right, yeah.
So maybe that's what it is.
You have some other names, Iris 7 and Nixie. What do they do?
Oh, so let me see if I remember. So Iris 7 is a 3D printing robot that also has a scanner. So in the book, so they're all fictional robots that are in the Leo the Maker Prince book. So in the book, that robot is working with a little boy, and she scans his feet, and she makes beach sandals for him that fit his feet perfectly.
Oh.
Customize his footprint to make it look like octopus legs. And,
Right.
and then, and Nixie is actually on the moon. There's a part of the story that goes to the moon.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It was actually inspired by research that I had read, that there are scientists who are studying how we might use 3D printers to take the material that's on the surface of the moon and repurpose it to create buildings.
Yeah, because aren't
wow.
they having trouble with the rover or something? You had something in the news. They got a flat tire, or it's like not moving, and they need to get it fixed.
Me? I had a story. I don't remember that.
Yeah,
They have flat tire on the moon?
News.
I didn't hear that. The website, Carla Diana is our guest. The website that we have for you is makemedia.com. Is that where we find the book?
Oh, no, that's the publisher's website. So I
Okay.
actually published the book in a traditional way with a publisher. The website for the book is leothemakerprince.com, all one word.
Okay, leothemakerprince.com. And this morning we had a story about the Pope actually embracing technology, saying it's a gift from God. He is a tweet guy. He tweets blessings, I guess, all day long. Got millions of people who receive them. And the point he's making, I think, that makes sense. In fact, I think we've said this before, is that if we can all communicate instantly with each other, we might realize that we're not that different. And therefore, why are we killing each other? Hopefully. I mean, I'm hopefully that this technology stuff will actually be something that changes us for the better. And with the 3D printer, I could see, for example, let's say in a country that has a need for a water pump or something, and the part breaks. Somebody with a printer over there would just, fix it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
No, there's starting to be a lot of stories like that are emerging. Somebody was working, and I don't remember where it was, but it was in a country in Africa, and babies were born and getting infections from the umbilical cord, and so someone designed a clamp that seals the umbilical cord, and they allowed people to 3D print it. And the 3D printers are coming down in price. I mean, of course, they're still expensive by relative terms, but they're about the price of a laptop. So, if a hospital had access to one, they could 3D print this part.
Well, you'd have to have a supplier then for the actual material that you would put in the 3D printer, right?
Right. Yes, that's true.
So that would probably become commonplace after a while.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, like ink cartridges.
So, Carla, I'm looking at the website you gave me, leothemakerprince.com, and I went to about the author, and there's a picture of Carla Diana, and you've got pigtails and very, very dark rimmed glasses. Does that really represent you?
Yes, I tend to wear pigtails and glasses. The glasses are probably a little bit bigger on the version.
So when a 3D printer prints that, is it all one piece, or are the glasses a separate piece? How does that work?
Yeah, the way that the toys in my book are designed is in separate pieces. So there are things that have a couple different colors, and usually what I'll do is I'll print one piece in one color, and then I'll stop the printer and I'll replace the material, and then I print it in another color, and then everything snaps together. So
you own a printer?
Yes.
Does it have a funny smell like melting plastic?
Yeah, so there are two types of plastic that are used in these desktop 3D printers, and one of them is a little bit more toxic than the other. One of them is a cornstarch-based one, so when I can, I like to use that one. It's called PLA.
Does it smell like popcorn?
It smells like waffles.
Waffle. Oh. All right. Well, this is cool, and so you know what, you mentioned the age group, but I'm guessing somebody our age who doesn't really have a clue about 3D printing might read this and say, "Oh, really? That's out there?" I think it'll be enlightening to a lot of people, not just the age group you mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting that kind of feedback, which makes me really happy. And I also think in some cases, a kid reading it with an adult might know more about it than the adult does.
Yeah, I think you're right. Now, what is the news dog? It looks like there's some news coming out of it, almost like an old AP machine. Does it print the news also? Not the substance of the news, but I mean the sheet of paper that's coming out of it.
Yeah, so that is the 3D printed part of that is a plastic shell that's housing a small thermal printer, which is a printer like you get with the when you get a receipt, like those little receipt machines.
Okay.
So that is a project that people can make where you connect the little receipt printer to an internet connection and have it search for a certain word. So
oh, wow.
Search for robot, and it'll print out news related to the robot. So.
And you can make a modular hamster house, Robin.
Oh, that's cool.
For the hamster to really live in, right?
That's cool.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
I gotta get one.
Do you live alone?
What?
Is everybody playing with your toy in your house? I mean, if I lived with you, I'd say, "Can I play with him?" I mean, are you married? Do you have children? What's going on in your world?
Yes. I am married, and my husband is also a product designer. So our home, sometimes is peppered with these strange objects and things that we've dreamt up.
Do you give gifts? I mean, some people don't believe in gift giving.
Yeah.
Yeah? So do you make all your gifts?
Yeah, I'm starting to. I mean, this 3D printer project was pretty new, but it was really exciting for me because, now I often give people a sheep or...
Really?
Yeah.
Are people making...
Or a T-shirt.
Okay, now, please don't be offended with this question, but it's me. Do people make risque things with this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Ah!
Of course.
Now I know. Okay, now I see the now here's the incentive.
I like the fact that...
Hey, honey, you don't got to go to that nasty store anymore.
Throw out that wig, then you don't have to worry about being recognized.
What do you call the plastic? Do you call it toner? What is it called?
It's just called filament. It's called filament.
Filament.
Because it usually comes in a thin spool, and then it's like wire, except wire. It's not wire. It's just solid
Oh,
glass.
wow.
And then it goes through a nozzle and melts.
I really like the fact you run the gamut from architecture to fashion design, because sometimes you don't really know the tensile strength of a building until it's actually up there, even though architects have worked on it forever, and now you can just build mini models right away, and then you can look at it in the 3D mode and decide, oh, this really isn't going to work there. We need to change the specs.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Carla, you have fascinated us for sure. Let's see. Carla Diana. The book is called Leo, the Maker Prints, Journeys in 3D Printing. The website that she gave us is fascinating. It's leothemakerprints.com. And the other one she told us about is Thingiverse, Thingiverse. Carla, thank you so much for being on there. Is there anything else we need to tell the listeners how to get the book? Or you're going to be in Greenwich, Connecticut soon on the February 1st? Okay.
On Saturday, yes. Saturday at 1 p.m., I will be in a store called MakerBot, which is one of the companies that makes the desktop 3D printers. They have an entire store in 3 cities so far. And I'm going to be in the Greenwich store at 1 p.m. this Saturday, February 1st.
Okay, all right.
And you'll be making things on that 3D printer there?
Yeah, we will. We'll be making one of the musical instruments that kids can see and play with.
So if I walk into it smells like waffles. Carla's making something again. Yeah, have you ever made waffles and your husband goes, "What are you making now?" And you say, "Waffles. What's the matter with you?" Carla, thank you for being on there. Fun interview. Thank you again. The website is leothemakerprince.com. Check this out. This is fascinating stuff. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Great interview. We'll be right back.
Your home is safe, or is it? AA Lock, Dock, and Security. The name has been a staple in Ocala since 1985. Do you have the right equipment in place?